Four Cardinals selected to the All-Star game, but was there one player who got snubbed? We'll discuss.
Also, the offense finally showing signs of life on Sunday. How do they continue it Monday and beyond? That and more on today's episode of Locked On Cardinals.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily St. Louis Cardinals podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, everybody? Happy Monday. Welcome to the Locked On Cardinals podcast for July 11th of 2022. I'm Lucas Smith. Along with me is the co-host, JD Haffron. Happy Monday, JD.
Another victory Monday, Lucas. Happy Monday to you as the Cardinals get the W yesterday. A hard-fought W, and things looked a little bit bleak. They didn't do so well without us talking about them over the weekend, man. They couldn't get any offensive going, but glad they were able to pull off the victory yesterday.
Got to see a Pujols home run. Got to see a go-ahead run in the bottom of the eighth. Very exciting stuff, so we'll break that down. We're going to talk about All-Stars first. Before all of that, I want to let you guys know that you're going to love this new app because today's episode is brought to you by the Sports Card Investor app. Welcome to the new world of trading cards reimagined. Stay tuned for later in the show. JD is going to give you some more information on this awesome new tool for collectors or beginners. You're going to want to check out the Sports Card Investor app. But the big story yesterday, JD, in terms of all-around baseball, would be the All-Star selection. You saw the starters announced on Friday. We saw Goldschmidt get the starting nod for the St. Louis Cardinals, so he will start at the first base position. We also saw Pujols be named an All-Star, something we talked about last week, and then two other Cardinals named All-Stars as Ryan Helsley gets the nod, as well as Nolan Arenado. So 4 All-Stars for a team that is hovering just above 500 speaks to how good these individuals have been.
Yeah, I mean, the team itself, I guess you could say, has underperformed a little bit, but I think we all kind of expected them to be right around here considering the injuries that they've been dealing with. But, yeah, I mean, you've got superstars at the corners with Goldschmidt, Arenado. Super happy for Ryan Helsley to get the notice, the deserving notice that he's worked so hard to get to. And he's headed to L.A., man. He's been one of the best relief pitchers in baseball this year, so hats off to him.
Absolutely, and you mentioned it off air that he was, only 7 saves, which you might not expect from a closer with this kind of stuff. But with the way that the closer situation worked out, it just is what it is. And I think saves, it's an interesting stat if you really want to get into that kind of discussion. But the ERA under 1, the minuscule hits, all those numbers speak for themselves, especially the stuff. But I think there's a good chance, and I think that if Dave Roberts could try and finagle it, it'd be really cool to see Nolan Arenado and Paul Goldschmidt play at the same time. You'd have to get Machado out of the game pretty early for that to happen, but that's kind of one of my goals, as you can see, if you get your Cardinals on the corners. I mentioned that as a slogan last week. Would it be cool if Dave Roberts, manager of the National League, Brian Snitker, manager of the National League, could get that done if they get both Cardinals at the corners?
Yeah, it's kind of a bummer that Machado ended up winning in the votes, which it's fine, I guess, man. I'm a little disappointed in Cardinal Nation. Come on, how do you let the Padres fans end up pushing him as the starter over all of us? We, own the Midwest. What is that? But, whatever. The game doesn't mean all that much, but it would have been cool overall. But, hopefully we can get it done. Hey, if Machado plays, he could, he's been dealing with a few injuries the last couple of weeks, so maybe he steps down and goes, I'd just rather have the day off, and no one can slide into that starting spot over at the hot corner.
That's a good point. There's always that question. There's probably going to be numerous amounts of changes to the roster over the next week plus, as the All-Star game is 8 days away. You even saw one already with Bryce Harper being named the starter, but he was hurt. So I believe it's William Contreras, the DH over in Atlanta. So the Contreras brothers getting the start. And I know we don't like the Cubs, but it's still kind of a fun little note there that the two Contrerases get the All-Star nod. The other one, we talked about the possibility. We didn't talk about it actually happening yet with Albert getting the call. I mean, that's, again, a no-brainer for Albert to be named there. There's even talk, JD, of Albert maybe participating in the home run derby in his final year, saying that he has said that there are more people deserving than him, but that if he was asked, he hasn't said no yet. We'll put it that way. The machine could be in one more derby.
I would love to see it. That would be cool. Would he win? Probably not,
No.
but that's okay. It's all about having fun and just doing it for the fans. And considering, he was a Dodger last year, so the fans are going to be excited to see him back in Dodger Stadium, and that would be cool. I would enjoy that. Maybe Miggy should sign up. Maybe they just have like him versus Miggy for one round, just for like an old farts home run derby, just to let them have a little goofy fun together. Because they'll do the whole whew, I'm gassed or whatever after like 5 swings. They could have some fun with it. And that's what it's supposed to be about. That's what this whole All-Star game is about. It's fun. Like they made it mean something a few years ago, and it took all the fun away from it. It was everybody had to take it seriously, where that's not what we want, man. We just want to see some of our favorite players get on the field and goof off together.
Absolutely. I saw some people mention the idea of a tag team, like it's Miguel Cabrera as a team. One round it's Pujols, one round it's Cabrera.
I'm bring it on. Bring all of it on. Like any goofy ideas that they have, let's do it, man. Don't take this seriously. Do it for the fans and just let us enjoy it.
Do it for the fans. Stay healthy and have fun. Those are the biggest things. Obviously, you don't want anybody getting hurt in the two festivities. No. But was there a Cardinal that was not named an All-Star that should have been? And we all know who we're talking about when we asked that question. Tommy Edman. JD and I were texting about it. He's been in a bit of a slump, but when you pull up ESPN, you look at WAR leaders. Defensive WAR, Tommy Edman 2.2. That is best in baseball. And then you go over. My phone just lost all of its service, so that makes sense. But when you go to the seasonal overall WAR, Tommy Edman still sits at 6th best in the National League. It's very easy to put your Cardinal glasses on and say, "Oh, easy snub. He needs to be on the All-Star team." Like obviously, but he's been a bit of a slump. The average has dipped. All the numbers has really dipped over the last week or so, which I think could have cost him his All-Star appearance at the time being. Could be some injuries, but I think that if he would have stayed at like 275, 280. You see him in the All-Star team.
Yeah, that's pretty much the issue here is where his I think over his last like 15 games he's hitting like almost 150, something like that. So it's been a little bit rough. Does it mean that he's not deserving? Not really, but he's definitely an All-Star for the Cardinals on the team that where it matters. I just think he's not to that level yet. He's like at the level of, hey, he's really good. I mean, we all know what he can do with his glove, but offensively, he's not doing anything all that special that would get recognition from the fans or the players around the league to vote him in. Could still be an alternate. People could dip off the starting roster and whatnot as they make the adjustments towards the game. So it's still a possibility, but I think Edmonds, he's on the cusp. He's close, but I still think they made the right decision by him not being on the team.
I tend to agree with you. I mean, you do look at it, though. You look at Tommy Edman's seasonal WAR according to ESPN again. 4.2 as my phone kicked back up into high gear. That is 6th best in Major League Baseball. Shohei Ohtani has a 4.3 WAR this season. Yordan Alvarez has 4.1. He's also an All-Star. Max Fried, 4.4, just above him. You see Arenado and Goldschmidt at 3 and 2 at 4.5 and 4.8, and then Sandy Alcantara at 5.2. So I know that WAR is not an end-all, be-all statistic. It's a statistic that a lot of people point to for Hall of Fame. I think that's a big comparative number because that's a metric that really stays the same throughout every era, if you will. It's not like hitting 20 home runs in 1910 is not what it is in 2010, right? So that's a metric that kind of changes. But WAR is one that should be taken into consideration. Wins above replacement. So how much better are you than the average player, right? And when you look at that number, Edman is clearly an all-star, but that is not everything. And I agree with your statement earlier as well. You said that Edman is a Cardinal all-star when it matters. And there's no question that he's not. He can play arguably 5 positions if you want to stick him back out in the corner and outfield spots. He's a switch hitter, steal some bags. So is he a snub, as they say? He'll probably make the list on these articles that are talking about snubs, but he's not probably the biggest snub out there, if I'll put it that way.
No, not at all. Again, you want to go with WAR, and that's great. We know that as super baseball nerds that's important. Whereas when you're looking at the sexy stats of home runs, RBIs, batting average, on base percentage, he's just that tier below the superstars in the league. But he's working on it. Hopefully he gets hot in the second half. Because you see how the team itself has offensively struggled as Tommy Edman has struggled, not only losing O'Neill and Bader, but with Tommy not being able to, he's not even hitting in the leadoff spot very often anymore. He was down in the bottom half of the lineup. So you see how important he is to this team and to the offense. And yeah, if he was hitting around 300, you get my vote to put him into the All-Star game. But I just can't. I can't live with myself with him hitting 257 and sending him to LA.
Yeah, that's a great point. And 257 without 25 home runs. Like,
right.
It's the different type of player that we're talking about. But overall, Cardinals get 4 selections. And like I said, for a team that is hovering, and that's kind of hard to say this or hard to come to terms with this, really, JD. For a team that is just hovering just above 500 right now as we sit, a week out of the All-Star games, they get 4 representatives, 3 quote-unquote legit representatives. No disrespect to Albert, but that's legacy clause there.
Overall, how dare you? How dare you? Did you see what he did yesterday? How dare you?
You know what? That's a great segue. I'm probably going to get crap on for that, but we are going to talk about yesterday's game. The Albert Pujols home run yesterday as the offense came back to life. They knew that we were going to talk about him today, like you said, JD, and they decided to come back to life and provide a little bit of fireworks on a Sunday afternoon. But first, I want to tell you guys about Athletic Greens AG1. What is this stuff? Talked about it a little bit, but if you haven't heard it before, with one delicious scoop of AG1, you are absorbing, listen to this, 75 high-quality vitamins, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens to help you start your day right. This special blend of ingredients supports your gut health, your nervous system, your immune system, your energy, recovery, focus, and aging. It helps just about everything you would want help with. It is lifestyle friendly, so whether you eat keto, vegan, dairy-free, gluten-free, it is friendly to that lifestyle. It contains less than 1 gram of sugar, no GMOs, no nasty chemicals or artificial anything, and it still tastes good. And it is cost effective because it costs you less than $3 a day. You're investing in your health. It's cheaper than your cold brew habit as well. And it's cheaper than getting all these different supplements yourself because you are investing in an all-in-one nutritional insurance. And right now, it's the time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. It's just 1 scoop and a cup of water every day. That is it. No need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D with your first purchase, as well as 5 free travel packs. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/MLB network. And again, that is athleticgreens.com/MLB network to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. Cardinals with a close, exciting win yesterday against the Phillies as they earned the right to go for a split today, a 4-3 win. The Cardinals score 1 time in the 6th, 7th, and 8th innings, JD. They still got out-hit 11-8 by the Phillies, but they scored more runs, and that's the stat that counts.
Yeah, that's what ultimately matters, is scoring more than the other team. You're going to win a lot of ball games, Lucas, if you outscore your opponent. Write that down. Keep that in there because that's important.
I never thought about that. I'll write it down to the point.
It's an easy game, man. It's an easy game. What do you want to start with? You want to start with the positives yesterday? I love the fact that they fought back, didn't give up, and it takes a little spark here and there. And when number 5 comes to the plate and hits a bomb, that's going to get people on their feet. Like, how disheartening was it? The one game where he gets a chance to pinch hit. Me and you were texting. We're like, all right, here he comes. And take your walk right on down to first base. We're not even going to give you a chance to do anything. And that sucked as a fan. But he finally got a chance to yesterday. They threw it to him, and Albert deposits it into the seats. 684. So he's now, I believe, within 12 of Alex Rodriguez, which we don't think he's going to get to 700. But I think 12,
12 is more easy to. There's an easier path to see that than there is to 700, and to put A-Rod down to what that would be 5th place all time, 4th place I think it is with. But no, I think that Albert is close to getting there. But watching Albert hit home runs, even to this day, is still a thing of beauty, especially when he knows he got it. I think that he thought he got one last week or week before, and it was down the track. But yesterday, just watching the replay, there was something about just the way he knew it. And he didn't, he's never been one to like flip the bat, throw it up like Ted Lawless, whoever his name, Mr. Lawless for the Cardinals in the 80s,
Tom
90s.
Lawless
Tom
back
Lawless.
in the 80s
Yes,
with
yes.
the beautiful locks coming out of the batting helmet. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so he's not bat flipping like that against the Dodgers, but he's still, he'll toss it aside. And the way he did that yesterday was just reminiscent of the days that he would hit 450-foot home runs. He might not have that power today, but it was a glorious thing. And you mentioned the Cardinals coming back because that to me is the sign of an offense that is clicking. This offense is not clicking by any stretch of the imagination, but it's a sign that it's a positive step forward. Because you get down 2-1 and 3-1 as Palante gives up runs in the fourth and fifth innings as he only goes 5 2/3, better than his last outing when he was possibly tipping pitches. But that 2-run deficit, I don't know how you felt, JD, in that moment, but that 3-1 deficit felt like it was 6-1, 7-1.
Yeah, especially with the way the offense has been.
Right.
Like you don't think you'll be able to climb out of the hole when you're getting shut out back-to-back days, and you've got shut out 3 times in the last week. Like, yeah, it feels like it's insurmountable. But you could see Albert. Like, it felt like he just kind of put the team on his shoulders when he did it. He's like, "Look, we can do this, guys." Like, he just kind of took a glance at the bench and. It takes just a little spark like that sometimes to get things rolling again. And gosh, it was fun to see. I'm excited about it right now, just talking about it, man. I love seeing Albert do Albert things at this point in his career.
Well, don't get too excited, but Albert's 5 for his last 11 with a home run and 2 RBIs. Could he be heating up? And he had to sacrifice fly couple, last week against Atlanta, had 2 hits.
Line shot, almost took the guy's glove off in left field. Hit that ball hard.
He had a 3-hit day yesterday, excuse me. So he is somebody that, I'm not saying that he's going to be starting every day or, I'm not saying he's on that cusp, but, he is somebody that it was getting hard to watch him hover around 180, 190 as he kind of starts his way back. But let's go to that 8th inning. Let's focus in on that 8th inning for the St. Louis Cardinals, the inning that's got them the winning run. It started off with guess what? A Pujols single. You see a pinch runner, which is fair. Then Nootbaar pops out. Nootbaar had the hit earlier. Edmundo Sosa, you and I have been kind of struggling with over text, gets a single up the middle to center field. You see Paul Goldschmidt come up to the plate as a pinch hitter. I want to ask you about Goldschmidt in just a minute too. He ends up walking. Tommy Eben puts one just deep enough. Matt Vierling did his best to throw out Carlson at the plate, but a nifty slide after review. That is the definition. Get him on, get him over, get him in.
Yeah, and that's what you got to do when you are struggling for offense. And it's one of the things that I've been waiting for is, like, I'm surprised I haven't started bunting a little bit more just to move people around, just to try to get people in a scoring position a little more often. They're leaving a ton of guys on base still. And just to give it a different look is kind of what I'm looking for. When things aren't going right, switch it up a little bit. Get back to the basics and the simple things of the game. So we didn't see any of that, but we saw the small ball type of offense where, if the Gorman ground out to tie the game up, like just simple things like that, just to get the job done. And it was good to see that. I think a lot of people would say is Cardinal baseball. It's never been a team that relies on the 3-run homer, and I hate teams that are like that. It drives me nuts. But it was fun to see them do it that way yesterday.
Well, you even look at, there have been multiple times over the last week or so, really, that the Cardinals have gotten runners at second and third with less than 2 outs, and all you need is a fly ball. Going back to the fundamentals, and they just haven't been able to do that. And I mentioned Paul Goldschmidt because Paul Goldschmidt was not in the starting lineup yesterday, and I haven't seen anything as to say why or anything of that nature, but the way that I see it, JD, I was kind of frustrated that Goldschmidt was not in the lineup. I understand guys need days off and that he is human and that you were 1-6 last week. So, but that's my point really, is that you were 1-6 last week and you're sitting Goldschmidt. You're arguably the best hitter on the team, at least this season statistically wise.
In baseball, dude. In baseball.
Yeah, that just goes to my point again that that was kind of a head scratcher for me. Did you bat an eye at that, or is it just a guy needs a day off every once in a while?
I took it as they had already planned this, whether they had gone 6-1 this week or 1-6, that this was going to be a day off for Goldschmidt just as a veteran, just to keep him fresh, and he would obviously be available off the bench. That's how I took it. And I didn't really freak out about it. I mean, it's such a long season, and like the weather has been just blistering hot in St. Louis too the last few days. So I was fine with it. It's a long year. I'm not going to freak out about one game where he gets a day off and rests.
That's a fair point. You also look at it too. The Cardinals have not had an off day since the 30th of June. The last day of June they were off, and they do not have an off day until day after the All-Star break. Technically, I mean, the players that aren't going to LA will have an off day next Monday in 7 days. But overall, I think that's a fair point. That a lot of baseball in a short amount of time, especially over the last 3 weeks.
Yeah. I mean, you had Arenado at DH. You were giving his legs a rest from playing in the field. So I only got so many spots you could put these guys. So, and you want to, it ended up paying off because Albert gets 3 hits playing first base.
It's a good point. It's a great point.
So Ali Marmol takes your whining about this and laughs at you.
That's fair. I think I'll live with the MLB manager telling me how to manage games. I'll live with it. Well, that's funny. But yeah, so the Cardinals will move on now. It's weird that the Cardinals have another game with the Phillies coming up this week. Series started on a Friday. 4-game series starting on Friday are pretty rare. But runs might be at a premium tonight, JD, with Nola and Michaelis on the mound. So we'll talk about it. But first, you want to say something about today's title sponsor.
Yes. Welcome to the world of sports cards. Reimagine. The Sports Card Investor app is the hobby's most powerful resource. You can quickly check the value of your favorite cards. You can find great deals and profit from the hobby that you love. Available completely free in the Google Play and Apple App stores. It's the Sports Card Investor app. It's a must-have for baseball fans. And one of the bonuses, I know times can be tough for people, completely free. Easily browse over 630,000 cards from every sport with hundreds more added every single week. You can check the latest values of your favorite cards with 7-day or 30-day charts. Find the best prices and buy directly through the app with our eBay deals feature. Breakout stars or prospects who are debuting, you can check the value of or find great deals on their first cards. Players like, on the Cardinals roster, you're looking at Nolan Gorman, you're looking at Juan Yepes, or even other team stars. How about O'Neal Cruz or Jeremy Pena with the Astros? They're all available to you. You can even go back, nostalgia and old players, go back in time and see how much your favorite old cards are worth today. Lucas, I was watching last night a documentary on YouTube about the rise of Randy Johnson. A lot of people forget that he came up with the Montreal Expos coming out of USC. And then he went on to the Mariners and the Diamondbacks and had his Hall of Fame career. And it was telling us how he adjusts some mechanical things after talking to one Nolan Ryan before they played each other. And, he's got all these cards for not only Randy Johnson's 22-year career, but you've got all the cards from Nolan Ryan's 27-year career. So even the older cards have a place. So download the Sports Card Investor app today, available for free in the Google Play and Apple App stores, or go to sportscardinvestor.com/lockedon.
6:15, the first pitch scheduled time tonight between the Cardinals and Phillies. Aaron Nola gets the ball. Miles Michaelis for the Cardinals. Mentioned this line last time, but Nola 5-6, Michaelis 5-7. I know wins and losses, similar to a save statistic, is not the end-all, be-all for a pitcher. I was scrolling through Twitter the other day, and somebody was talking about, I forget the two pitchers they were talking about, and I was scrolling through the comments, doom scrolling, as they say. And somebody said, he's got X amount of wins, and somebody replied to that person's tweet and said, you're using wins as an argument for a pitcher. You've already lost the argument. Saying as to how somewhat irrelevant the pitcher's stats are. So if that person's watching the show, they're probably laughing at me, which is fine. But wins aside, these two pitchers tonight, and Nola and Michaelis, have been very solid all season. Runs might be at a premium tonight.
Especially the way the Cardinals have been hitting and the Phillies, to be honest. Like everybody's, giving all the crap to the Cardinals for not being able to put runs. The Phillies scored 3 runs in those 2 wins, okay? So it's not like they've been tearing the cover off the ball. But, yeah, I would imagine another pitchers duel again tonight at Busch Stadium. Both of them very good. You're going to see more of the strikeouts for Nola than you will Michaelis. But you know what Michaelis has over Nola? Burning sage before he goes onto the field. Like, that was something yesterday. I even, in case we needed it today, I even brought, I don't have sage, but I do have a lighter in case we needed to burn something to make sure our show went off without a hitch this morning. Because that's apparently what Michaelis did yesterday, burned sage on the field to kind of maybe ward off the evil spirits that were shutting down the Cardinals. And it worked. So the Sage is 1-0. So can the Phillies and Aaron Nola outpitch Michaelis and the Sage? I highly doubt that.
and the stash. I'll throw one more thing in there. I'm not. It rivals Strider's stash of Atlanta. I'll say that. When Michaelis has his stash rolling, I'm not a huge mustache guy, JD. I don't think too many people can pull it off.
Can you grow facial hair? I'd be shocked if you could even.
For those
grow
watching on YouTube right now, I'm gonna out myself right now. I'm 22. I'm 22 today, but this is like 5 days of no shaving, and I don't think you guys can see anything on the screen. So no, I cannot grow any facial hair. So kudos to you if you can. But nevertheless, Michaelis with his stash will look to just continue his success. Really, that also arguably, if you really want to make an argument, could have been an all-star snub. Maybe, if you really wanted to push for it. And really, you look at how the days line up. So he'll start on this Monday. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday off day. Starting on Saturday, he could be available for an inning on Tuesday if a starter that was named to the All-Star team pitches on Sunday and doesn't want to travel or doesn't want to pitch 2 days later. Michaelis could be available for his bullpen day. Could be in the All-Star game. Who knows? He could make the team that way. But regardless, even if he doesn't, not to say that that's the end all be all of a season, but the offense today for both teams, I think the key is whenever you're facing an ace, JD, get to them early before they settle in.
Oh, for sure. Because if you can get them out of their comfort zone, off tempo early on in the game, then all the best to that pitcher trying to get back on track against a team that's already got you off keel. So if you can get to Nola, go for it, man. He's one of the best, though. So I would do kind of what they had to do yesterday to get this win. I wouldn't rely on seeing the ball fly over the wall. I'd be more paying attention to moving runners over. Please bunt if you have to. And especially with Edmundo Sosa, I know he got the hit after me and you talked smack about him. We're through text yesterday, and also then he gets the hit, which was a big deal. I get it. But do something different, because whatever you're doing doesn't work. Same for you, Corey Dickerson. If you need to bunt to move some people over, do it, for God's sakes. You're driving me nuts watching you guys taking bats, and they're just wasted. You might as well just stand there without a bat and just pray for a walk when those guys come up to the plate recently. It's maddening, and it sucks that they have to be in the lineup. But due to the injuries and whatnot, that's kind of where they're forced to be at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, there's no question about that. And yesterday's lineup was not the A lineup by any stretch of the imagination. We mentioned, Goldschmidt wasn't in it. You saw Romine and Sosa, but here were the averages 1 through 9 yesterday. And this comment credit to Jeff Jones on Twitter. He tweeted out this picture of the lineup, and the caption on his end on Twitter was just July 10th, game 88, pointing how deep they are into the season. 257, 254, 264, 291, 1 through 4. It's not bad. But then you go beyond that, 188, 198. That's Pujols. That is what it is. 158, 174, and Austin Romine at 150. And again, similar to pitchers' wins, I know average is not the end-all, be-all, but this offense, it's been well documented and will continue to be well documented as to how much it struggled. But hopefully with O'Neill maybe on his way back, he had some wrist swelling after getting hit by a pitch. That could help the offense. Harrison Bader not expected to be back until after the All-Star break. Jack Flaherty not expected to be back until the trade deadline. I know he's a pitcher, but just getting that information out there. This offense might be at its B level, B minus C level some days until the Cardinals get some of those guys back, which might not be for at least a week.
Yeah, I mean, you take Carlson out of the lineup. You don't have Goldie in the lineup there to start yesterday, and then O'Neill, who doesn't usually carry much of a high batting average, but just how dangerous he is. So he's a guy you can accept him hitting 230, and you'll be okay with that. He's going to strike out, but he can hit 40 bombs for you. Bader, he's obviously a better hitter than those. So again, injuries have made the back half of this lineup really look awful. And when they do come back, I don't know if there's even a spot. We talked about this, whether Edmundo Sosa or Dickerson even have a spot on this team anymore.
Could not agree more. I think that if Bader and O'Neill are still healthy, that would have been a segment on the show as to who got sent down for Dickerson. Because there was absolutely no room on this team for him with those two guys, with the way he's been hitting. There's a really good argument for it.
Yeah, you need that left-handed bat, and with him and Nootbaar both really not doing all that much, I don't know who you take your chances with. I guess you paid the money to Dickerson, and he's a veteran, so you'll give him the benefit of the doubt of getting more at bats. I'm assuming Nootbaar is the one who has to go back.
Yeah, that would be my thought as well. But Big series this week against the Dodgers. That'll be a playoff test as well. We'll talk about that on tomorrow's episode, so be sure to tune back in, whether you're listening on your podcasting platforms, watching on YouTube, both. Maybe you're weird and you want to watch both at the same time, sync it up. Great. All the more power to you. But be sure to come back tomorrow as JD and I talk about the Dodgers series as JD lights a fire to end the show. Hopefully Michaelis and his sage can bring some success tonight. But until we talk to you tomorrow, we burn some things tomorrow from JD and myself. Stay safe, stay well, and have a fantastic rest of your day.